Guys, welcome back. So today I am working on finishing up some marker prep. So I am making a bunch of little drifts, the octopus. I am super excited to get these done. I have my market is actually tomorrow, so I'm trying to get as many of these done as I can. I might make a couple other things if I have time, but that is what I'm doing today. I wanted to just hop on and say hi, and I will be speeding up when I'm actually crocheting these up. But yeah, hope you guys are having a great day. And I'm trying to figure out, the background is a little plain still. My husband's going to be making me shelves for my yarn to go back here. I actually have my yarn in like little cube shelves over on the other side of my room, which I'll do like a room tour once I have it mostly the way I want it, because the shelves are going to take a while. But this wall will eventually be shelves. That's why it's so bare. But yeah, so let's get started with some market prep. So this little basket back here that you'll see, it is what I put all my polyfill in. And like if I have like little scraps of ends of yarn that I cut off to use in the stuffing as well. So those are all shoved in there. But I always break up my polyfill the best I can. And then I always push in and fill the sides and push out to shape and then fill from there. I squeeze a lot as well to make sure it's the right density, because I don't want them to be like too hard, but I don't want them to be too soft either and have like almost like pockets. So I spend a little bit of extra time when I'm doing stuffing to make sure it is stuffed the way I wanted to begin with, because I hate to have to add more later or to pull any out if I overstuff. Now, I have done both of those, and I do have techniques that I do use to take extra stuffing out or add more in if I've already like finished the piece and I realize that I don't like the firmness of it. So this is the start of the head. I'm going to be adding the eyes here in the next, after this next round, I'll add the eyes and then finish the head part for the body part, and then do the tentacles. I think it's the head and the body, yeah. So that's what I'm doing now, and I will see you all when I finish this part. Actually, I'm not gonna, sometimes I forget, but if I haven't added the eyes yet, you want to make sure that you don't stuff like straight up to it, because you don't want to not be able to put the backs on. You want to make sure there's enough space for you to put the backing on. But I'm going to finish this round, and then I'll be right back to show you how I attach my eyes. Alright, now I am adding in the safety eyes. So for this particular one, I am using, what size are these? I think these ones are 14. I believe these ones are 14s. Now I used, this one ended up being, it's still a burnout blanket, and I still used a size 6 hook, but it is so much bigger, the yarn wise. Like you can see here, the thickness is a lot different. I probably should have gone up a hook size or a half hook size, but it still worked out fine. The stitchers look fine either way. So I did have to go up to a size 18 for these eyes. And then these ones are, I believe they're 15s, 14 or 15s. I thought I had them written down, but apparently I don't. So this is the size difference of just yarns. Because like I said, I still use the same hook size, but the yarns are different. This one is a little bit more dense. Might have to take some of his fluffing out, but even these ones are slightly different, same hook size. Sometimes I think it depends too on, because they're both burnout blanket, but for some reason, some of them, I don't know, they just end up being slightly different when you finish them. I try my best to keep these ones aren't too far off. They're really close. This one was giving me trouble at the top, so I think the top is spaced a little bit differently. I try to keep my tension consistent throughout pieces. That way there's not too much a discrepancy of size. But back to what we were doing. So I'm just adding in the eyes. Now I always check mine too, because sometimes I had an eye yesterday where it was like really scratched up. So I put that one to the side and see if I can fix it later. But I try to make sure the eyes are in good condition before I actually attach them, because I don't want to put something on there that doesn't look nice. It looks like it's been used a bunch already. So now I'm just trying to get the eyes exactly where I want them in the bobble stitch. And depending on which eyes I'm using depends on what tools I use or don't use. Some of my smaller eyes, I don't need to use anything to help me put the backs on. And then others I do, just because my fingers aren't very good at at doing it. So this one I think I can do without. I always double check and I'll tug on them. Try to stick. That's one good thing about having like decently length nails. I'll try to stick them under. I'm not wearing my ring again. This is my silicone one just because I go to work today and I don't wear my ring when I'm at work either. So those are all nice and tight. And then the other one. Yeah. Sometimes when they're in the bobble stitch, they're a little bit more difficult to get the back on them. Just because it's like at a weird angle sometimes. So there are times where it's not stuck. I'll need to use tools. So I need to order their actual new ones. I have the Easy Craft, or Craft Easy, my bad. Craft Easy, like these were the prototypes when they were testing them out. I have yet to order my other ones just because I haven't had the time to think about it. I also still have these and they work really well. So I'll use them to just make sure everything's as tight as possible on there. I have the two different sizes. I have the large size and then the small, but I do want to purchase their other ones as well. And then I have a different tool that I'll use sometimes for my safety eyes, which I don't know where it's at right now. Not for my safety eyes, for my sinker safety eyes. So I use a different tool for those just to get them more snug on there as well. Like I said, I'll pull on them. And then if I can find where my little lighter went, I lose these things all the time. So I like to use these lighters instead of like the longer ones, or I can't use the ones like the normal cigarette lighters. My thumbs, like I cannot get it to work at all. So I like to buy these ones. It also gives you length too, so you're not like right up on it. So I like to burn the ends of my safety eyes, depending on the backs I have. Some of the backs I don't burn just because like they're like extra duty like backings, but whenever I use these kinds of backings, even though I double check to make sure they're on, I always like to burn the ends just because I don't want anything coming out. Or like if it shifts for some reason or it's slightly off, those backs can sometimes be questionable. I also did order, I'm waiting on getting some more backings. Sometimes I'll order the more heavy duty because for some reason I can never find them with the eyes. Most of the time, there's only a couple times I've gotten eyes that have had the nicer backs. and I don't know how to figure out like how to find ones in a big enough quantity that have the nicer backs. So I just end up ordering more backs just because I want to make sure everything's on there nicely. Like I said, these ones are fine. I haven't had any issues, but just to be on the safe side, I'll melt the ends down. Now these lighters normally come, well, this is the one I can't use, but they normally come like wrapped in a plastic. I thought I had one over here, but I take it off because it will melt when I use that. It doesn't do anything to push on it with this though. So the eyes are on nice and tight. And now I just gotta finish the last 2 rows and then this one is done. So I'll be back in a bit. I just want to show you quickly how I finish off my projects. Oh, also you'll see me reach down here. So I like to use the metal stitch markers just because when I first started, I kept breaking the plastic ones like all the time, and I also kept losing them. So I have this little magnetic tray that I use. I also use metal darning needles, so they all just stick to it and I don't lose as many, although I do have to say sometimes I don't stick them on here and they magically end up elsewhere. So I try really hard to stick them on here so that I don't accidentally step on any or they're not in the carpet, but that has happened before. So, and then I have a little metal cart that I have a bunch of stuff on next to me, which is a mess right now, but I stick this to the side of the cart and then I can just grab it. So grab my darning needle, which I like to use the ones that have the curves. Those are my favorite. I also have a tendency to lose these though too. So I ordered some like colorful metal ones just because I think that's going to be a little bit easier to see than the silver ones. So I'm just going to finish adding the last bit of the stuffing that I need for him. Okay. And then, so I did a slip stitch in the next one over, and then I like to go through the front loop. I don't know if you can see it. I like to go through the front loop and I'll go towards the outside first and then go through the next front loop. I'll go inward and then I repeat that process all the way around until I reach where I started. So it'll take me just a little, I'll leave it a minute. But I just think this for me is the best way for closing off. I'm pretty sure most people do it like this. I do know there are like maybe a couple other ways, but that's the way I prefer to do it. And then I just pull and it disappears. And then sometimes I'll go through a couple of times and just make sure everything's in the way I want it, and I'll stitch through a few times, and then I just bring my leftover through the back, and then I leave these just in case I need to tie off any others that I'm going to be using later. And since this one has tentacles, I'll have to attach them where the little pin is. So I'll have to attach them there, so I will be having more string. So that's why I keep this until I'm done, because I like to tie mine together, burn the ends, and then I put them into the plushie. So now I have, I think there's 4. I have 4 that I need to do the tentacles for. So, and I think that's all I'm going to make for this market with the drift. I have my strawberry octopus, which I'll grab them all and show them to you at the end. I have my strawberry octopus, and then I have one other Bernat Mystic yarn one that I did in a different color. I try to do like a variety of colors. I like having multiples of things but in a variety, and then also not multiples. So a lot of my craft shows I'll have a bunch of like different things because not everyone likes the same things, and it's kind of nice to have the option of it. So I'll be back once I start these. Okay, so I finished the first one of the 4 that I'm making. So now I'm just going to get my ends all in the same spot. That way I can tie them together, just because I like it to be a little bit more secure. I'm just pulling that through. Now for the strawberry octo, he has like another layer of he's another round to make him have like outside color. I'm not doing it for these ones this time, just because I'm limited on time, and I want the model to look the same besides the strawberry one, because that one has more detail anyway, so that one's fine to look a little bit different. Right now I'm just getting my ends all in the same spot, and then he will be finished, which I'm actually really happy, because recording this I can see like roughly how long they take me. I do time them when I have when I'm going to sit down and be able to start and finish one, so I will time them for that. Here I'm just cutting the extras. So this one is long enough that I will keep it to potentially use in either a later project or use it for detailing. So this one I have a drawer full of all the ones that are longer, so I'll use those later on. I'm planning on making like a mismatch plushie of some kind with like some of the really long ones that are like colorful that I won't use for accents. But these tiny ones, I just stick them where my polyfill is, and then I use them when I stuff them. But now I'm just gonna burn my ends. I give them a second so that I don't get it stuck to the outside of it, and then take my scissors and just stuff them in. So here is the completed one, and now I just gotta make the others. So I will see you when I am finished with all of them. Hey guys, I finally finished all of them. So first, the one that I was showing I was making, I have the little purple one, which we'll stick them back here. So I have the purple dude, purple little one, the blue one. I love this one, is like a color changing one, and it actually turned out really cool with where the color changes ended up happening. This one's tentacles also are like extra curly, I think because of the type of yarn. It's just like tighter, if that makes sense. So there's the blue multicolored dark blue one. This was the first one I made, which is like a pinky purple color. And this one's the pink, more pinky shades of pink one. These 3 are the Mystic yarn. All of them are Bernat. And then this, he is massive. His head is huge. Like, comparison to the other ones is crazy how much bigger he ended up. This yarn was a lot thicker, so that's why. But he ended up huge, and his tentacles are extra curly too. But super cute. He or she ended up huge. I'm actually really liking the multicolored yarn, like the color changing colored yarn, because I think it just adds a cool design to it, and it's gonna be different every time you make it. So I really like doing that. So there's that. So far we have 5, and then the 6th one is my strawberry one. So when I had made the first one, so when I made this one and I was thinking about all the strawberry stuff I wanted to make for my show, that is like strawberry themed. So I saw the shape of it and I was like, that kind of looks like a strawberry. So I just freehanded a little grass, or not grass, little topper for him, did some yellow seeds, and then went around with some pink just to give a little extra detailing. But I am obsessed. I love, absolutely love. And even this one's a little bit bigger than the other ones as well, but not nearly as big as this one. This one's definitely, this one's hefty. But the other ones, they're slightly smaller than this one. There's not too much of a size discrepancy, just a little bit. But yeah, so I have made, so far, I'm definitely going to be making a lot more of these. The pattern works up really quick. It takes me about 15 to 20 minutes to do the head, and I'm getting faster almost every time I do it. So my best guess is I'm going to land somewhere around like 12 minutes, 12 to 15 on doing the heads, and the tentacles take about the same time. So it takes about 40 minutes, 40 minutes, depending on if I'm fully paying attention or if I'm watching something or I get distracted by the music I'm listening to and stuff like that. But they work up really quickly and they're just so cute. There's 5 and the big one, 6. So these were the ones that I market prepped, because I'll be putting this video out after my market, probably, because I just don't have time to edit it until after my market. And I have a pattern test I'm doing for a friend, and then I also have a commission piece I need to get done. So I probably won't be posting videos until next week. I might post 2 because I made another one just like introducing a little bit about what I plan on doing with the channel. I don't think I explained too much, but I might do a video later on explaining what I plan on doing. But I also showed more of the stuff I made specifically for this market that are strawberry themed. So I'm going to break it up into separate videos. So I might do 2 videos next week if I have the time to edit them. So we will see. But I'm obsessed with this pattern, and there's a couple other ones that this creator has that I will definitely be making for future shows. I just didn't have the time to make them now because I wanted to get a handful of these done. And I have to actually run some errands here in a bit. There's a couple things I have to get for the craft show tomorrow. So I have to go run and get those, and then I'm gonna do one last trip to Joann's before they close. I'll probably make a video, or I'll show on Instagram what I got from there for my last trip that I did last week, because I forgot to video it. Last trip I did last week, and then if I end up getting anything at this trip, I don't know if they're gonna have anything because my store closes on Sunday. So there might not even be anything left, or if there is, it might not be what I need or what I use a lot of. Because even if there's like a decent amount of yarn, if it's not the colors I use very often, I don't want to just buy a bunch of it, because I have a lot of yarn. I love my yarn, but I definitely need to make more sales before I can continue to buy as much as I have. So yeah, that's the plan. But bye everyone. I hope you guys have a great day. See you next time.